What's poppin', everybody? Zeraora Lost Thunder is out today. I've waited for the English scan so I can do this whole thing in one setting. And we're going to be looking at the best cards from this set. A lot of good general cards and some interesting cards or my own favorite cards. This set is insanely big, as you guys know. It usually is troublesome to cover all the best cards from any other set. But in this set, man, it's going to be tough. It's actually not just filler. This set is rich with a lot of excellent cards left and right. So we're not going to waste any time here. I got to start with the top of the line stuff. And the top of the line stuff is definitely going to be the lightning stuff. This card right here going to change a lot. Zeraora GX. So this Pokemon, its stats are excellent. 190 HP is the standard you want to hit for basic HP GX Pokemon. It's got a nice metal resistance. The fighting weakness might seem troublesome, but perhaps it's for the best. Maybe get balanced out a little bit with the fighting Pokemon. And the retreat is at 2. Doesn't look that good, but it doesn't matter that much because this Pokemon has Thunderclap Zone, the ability that does the same thing as the old Darkrai Hexer's Dark Cloak did. Very, very good Pokemon forever, for as long as it was around, and this is going to be the same. Instead of darkness energy, though, you do this with lightning. So each of your Pokemon that have any lightning energy attached to it has no retreat cost. So this dude has a lightning, no retreat. Any other Pokemon on your field that has a lightning, no retreat. It's excellent, it's flexible, it's pretty fantastic, and it just opens up for so many strategies and combos, making this like a great support Pokemon already. But it's not just a great support Pokemon, it's actually a very solid attacker. With Plasma Fists, you do 160 for 3, and this Pokemon can attack during your next turn. So, a lot of Pokemon have this sort of 160 attack, and they either can attack or they gotta discard energies. You look at Buzzwole GX, you look at Lapras GX, there's a couple of other Pokemon that have this sort of attack. But this guy, not only can he just attach a Choice Band and you're in that 190 range to knock out a lot of Pokemon in one hit, we actually have the Electro Power that we're going to look at. And with that, this guy just basically gets knockouts on all of the relevant Pokemon for free. You just basically use 2 items, either a Choice Band or an Electro Power, or you just use 2 Electro Powers, and you just knock something out just like that. Anything gets knocked out. It's already strong enough, and you're in that range where you knock out all of the relevant Pokemon. Its GX attack, Full Voltage GX, attach 5 basic energy cards from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. This is also an excellent attack. You just spam your Ultra Balls, discard energies, have a turbo deck like this, and then you can even use the GX attack to power up a bunch of these guys. Now, you don't even have to do this. This Pokemon, I feel like it's going to be the new sort of Evoltal Darkrai deck that we had when X and Y came out, where you can just combine this Pokemon with the Raikou from Shining Legends that just does 30 and you grab an energy. You slowly, build a couple of energies. You do this once or twice, and then with the Electro Power of the Stadium and this guy, you just have a very flexible and strong deck that gets one-hit knockouts basically. So this is going to be the best card from this set in my opinion, and it's so perfect because of a few other cards for lightning support. So we're going to jump all the way down here to trainers because it's what really makes this Pokemon busted. If it wasn't for these cards, it just would have been great, but not the greatest. But thanks to Electro Power, this item card, during this turn, your lightning Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So busted, this is like a Choice Band that you don't attach that works everywhere, like a triple plus power basically for lightning Pokemon. It is extremely strong. If we learned anything, well, we didn't really have to learn. We knew as soon as Muscle Band came out. But if there's one thing that everyone got from Muscle Band and these add-on cards, Strong Energy, all these cards that we have over the years, is that free damage is busted. And this card is just the cream of the crop. Doing 30 more damage, as I explained, it puts Zeraora GX at 190 before Choice Band or any other add-ons. So you just slap another one of those and he's at 220. So one-hit knockouts without any cost. Everything else that's smaller than that is going to be taken care of anyway, so it's perfect. Now, from what I understand, at least the way I look at this card, this effect should stack. Like if you play two of these, you can actually stack it. We're gonna have to find out, to be honest, but I'm pretty sure it stacks. It should stack. If they made it that it doesn't, then it's a little bit weaker, but it's still gonna be strong anyway because of choice band. You can still combine this with choice band, and you get the same job anyway. So busted card. This is gonna make all lightning Pokemon quite powerful, honestly. But Zeraora GX is possibly the biggest exploiter. Alright. And then the last card of the trilogy of the best cards is the Stadium, the Lightning Stadium, Thunder Mountain. So you only have one of this card since it's a lost, oh not a lost card, a Prism card. But it is quite powerful. We have a few solid ways to search Prism cards too. And it's just amazing anyway. The attacks of all lightning Pokemon cost one lightning energy less. So this is like almost like a energy gain SP Pokemon for lightning Pokemon. So Zeraora GX's 160 attack instead of 3, you can now do this for 2. So just a 2 energy attack that gets one hit knockouts with basically no cost. Like it's not even a Rayquaza GX attack where you need a lot of energies in your discard. It's just a 2 energy attack with the Stadium, get one hit knockouts on big ass Pokemon. It's insane. It's very fast. Like I've said, you only have one of these cards, but if you get it out, if you just even manage to get the plus, like even just once or twice, that's basically all that you need if you time your attacks right. You just play this, play the Electro Power, play a Choice Band or a second Electro Power, get knockouts. So this is basically the trilogy of cards that I think they're going to be amazing. Thunder Mountain, Zeraora GX, Electro Power. Combine that with something like Raikou from Shining Legends, and just a good consistency Skeleton, and you basically have a good deck. That's it. And it also has a self-protection effect akin to the Yu-Gi-Oh cards that float. Whenever your opponent plays an item, a supporter card, to discard this card basically, it doesn't work. They have to get rid of it with a Stadium. Now that still doesn't make it, you know, being able to last forever, but it's good that you have that sort of protection. It means Field Blower can't get rid of it, other cards can't get rid of it. So amazing. These are going to be the top of the line cards for sure. Lightning stuff. There's a bunch of other good Lightning, maybe support cards in here, but I think these are the top cards for sure. Busted. Okay, so next up, we're going to look at the grass stuff because I think the grass stuff is pretty good too. So if it wasn't for Zeraora GX, I would say the most amazing Pokemon in this set is this Shuckle right here. So 60 HP basic Pokemon, not that amazing. At least it has one retreat cost, which is good. You can combine this with a skateboard that way, so it's always nice for Pokemon to have one retreat now. We get to have a skateboard as Floatstone. And this Pokemon gives you amazing energy acceleration in the form of an attack. So energy drink, you attach 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile on your Pokemon in any way you like. This is amazing. It does require a grass energy, so maybe it's not going to be as flexible as, if it were for colorless, of course. But you still can grab any energies from the discard pile. So if you just use grass energies, maybe combined with something else, then you already have some flexible energy acceleration. It doesn't do damage, but you can grab 2 energies, man, for just 1. It's quite amazing, and especially for grass decks, it's gonna be very, very good. It's gonna help them out a lot. Like something like Torterra, the stage 2, even though it sucks so much, it might actually be like just decent to try for fun thanks to this. It's exactly what we needed basically. And it also has a very useful ability that synergizes with its attack amazingly. Fresh Squeeze, when you play this Pokemon to your bench, you can search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and then discard them. So it's like a battle compressor for energies too when you play this Pokemon down. So that means it's extremely self-sufficient. You don't even need to set up discarding the energies with Ultra Balls or other cards. It's amazing. It's going to put them over there, thin your deck as well. Incredibly consistent, And I really feel this deck can be combined with so many different Pokemon. Anything that's colorless, anything that's grass, you're going to be able to make consistent energy acceleration decks with this guy. Now, like I've said, it doesn't do damage, anything, but you can grab 2, and that's very, very impressive. So fantastic Pokemon. Maybe the lightning stuff is going to be too fast and too powerful for grass Pokemon and these sort of strategies to do anything, but it's definitely an excellent card you want to get. Just an uncommon too. Excellent. Now right next to it, since we're right next to it, we're going to look at Shuckle GX2. This Pokemon is pretty fantastic, really modeled after the Mr. Mime from Mysterious Treasures, which I really dig. It's got Protective Shell. Now this Pokemon might actually make a great counter against these sort of cheap decks, cheap energy attack decks, fighting decks, even zeraora GX maybe, because of this ability. Basically, you prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon that have 2 or fewer energy attached to them. So exactly the same ability as Mr. Mime. Any opposing Pokemon that wants to damage this dude needs to have 3 energies on. If it has 2 or less, then it doesn't do anything. Now this is pretty good because it makes for a great wall, and it helps out these hidden switch Pokemon. Like, I don't know if Deoxys and things like Umbreon GX are going to be that much better now, but it definitely helps them out. You can do hidden switch, promote a Pokemon like this, and the more good walls we have, the more viability those decks kind of get and flexibility. And its attacks are actually pretty solid too. Like, it makes for a solid Pokemon in general. Triple poison, it works with any energy, the same with the GX attack, and it's Crobat Prime's attack basically. You poison your defending Pokemon, and you put 3 damage counters instead of 1. So obviously in something like Expanded, it's even better because you have the Verbank City Gym too. Of course, we still have the Survivors from Burning Shadows. So you can even attempt and try and make this like just a nice little anti-meta deck, focusing completely on Shuckle GX. You're already going to be uh, blocking some solid damage, making your opponent's life difficult thanks to Protective Shell. You know, with triple poison, a couple of Vipers, you're going to be putting the hurt on too. So it's quite good. And Wrap GX, it's a solid attack for an emergency, I guess. It's going to instantly paralyze the opponent while doing 40 for any energy. So it's not bad. I like it. It's quite good. And 1 retreat once again, 170 HP. It's okay for all the things you get in this card package. So a very good grass Pokemon, definitely Shuckle GX. Very, very good. Excellent card all around. Alright. Next up, we're going to look at, well, let's look at Heracross since it's here. This isn't one of the best cards, but it's a solid tech card, I guess. With powerful friends, you have a stage 2 Pokemon. It's going to consistently do 120 for 2 energies. Now, it doesn't necessarily, it's not really that much better compared to Faramasa, but in a deck like Sabotage GX, which we're going to look at right now, it might be better. So Sabotage GX right here, you know, it's not bad, but it doesn't really look that impressive. It has 230 HP. Stage 2 Pokemon can hit a lot more than that, so that's not so good. The 1 retreat is okay though. You can do Mat Cut. You do 60 for 1, you discard a special energy always, and then you can do Leaf Cyclone. You do 130 for 2, and then you can move a grass energy from this Pokemon. And then you heal all damage from each of your Pokemon that has any grass energy attached to it for the GX attack. So a solid little Pokemon, a good little stage 2. Once again, a nice little card package. It's got a nice cheap attack, then another good cheap attack that does 130, and then you can conserve an energy too. You know, the GX deck might be handy. 230 HP isn't the greatest, so it looks good on paper. But if it was just for this, it wouldn't have been good. What makes this card pretty good is that the line here, the Trico line and the Grovyle line, Trico doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't look that good either. But Grovyle, Sunshine Grace is the same ability as the Gabite from Dragons Exalted, meaning that once during your turn with this Pokemon, you can search your deck for any grass Pokemon and put it into your hand. So this makes this stage 2 line a lot faster to get out. It's probably the fastest stage 2 line that we can get out because when you have an ability like this on the Grovyle, it really speeds things up. So that means it's a much easier stage 2 Pokemon to get out, and it makes, Sebatal that's just solid, makes it that much kind of better. Because with this, what you do is you get Grovyle, you search for another Grovyle, then with the other Grovyle, you search for another Grovyle, you search for Sebatal then, or depending on what you do, you search Sebatals, it doesn't matter. And you can grab any grass Pokemon anywhere, so it's excellent. So with this, I feel this deck is going to be, if you want to try like a stage 2 deck, just a regular stage 2 deck, no tricks, just a consistent, solid stage 2 deck, maybe you want to take advantage of that extra HP the stage 2 Pokemon have a bit more, and you want to go with that instead of stage 1 GXs, then this is probably the most consistent stage 2 deck, thanks to this Grovyle here that grabs grass Pokemon. So once again, I don't think this Pokemon might be good enough to go up against something like Zeraora GX, but you never know. Maybe it's going to be enough. We have a few other grass support here that's pretty good. So the other grass Pokemon that's pretty good is Vespiquen here. So 120 HP, solid. The bottom stats, no resistance, too bad, and 2 retreat cost isn't the greatest, but it's got a very powerful cheap attack. Commanding Queen, if you have, well, basically, if you have a full bench with grass Pokemon, it does 120. And I think, yeah, if you have 4 or fewer, yeah, so you gotta have a full bench of grass Pokemon. However, doing one for 120, it's pretty amazing. It's actually in that range, the knockout, man, this card checks Lycanroc so easily. And just grass weak Pokemon are really gonna be scared of this Vespiquen here because it's just too easy to get one-hit knockouts against them. Any grass weak Pokemon that's a GX. So yeah, this set creates a nice little triangle of power. Whereas Zeraora GX is probably going to be the best general Pokemon. You got the fighting Pokemon that can oppose it, but then grass Pokemon, can hit fighting Pokemon like Lycanroc GX. Lycanroc GX is going to be very effective against Zeraora GX, but once again, you've got Vespiquen to check that guy now too, easily. But this Pokemon is very good. It's not that difficult to have a full bench of grass Pokemon. We've got our Nest Balls. We've got, so many cards that just come out in this set that can fill your bench. And the Combi in this deck has B March, where you basically put 3 Combis from your deck to your bench. So self-sufficient once again. It's quite good. Next up, we got Shaman. This Pokemon is very, very nice too. So this basic Pokemon, as long as it's on your bench, or not even on your bench actually, it works from anywhere. Once during your turn, you can heal 20 damage from your active grass Pokemon. So this is more flexible than Leafeon GX's healing ability. Leafeon GX has to be active, and while it heals more, this guy that just heals is good because it can create effects. So for example, a card that's not very good, maybe it's decent, but this Tangrowth here, if this card gets healed with Hefty Whip, it basically does 160 for 3, and that's powerful too. So you can combine this basically with something like the Shaman that we just talked about, and this card for 1 grass in DC can always do 160, so it's good. And there's plenty of other Pokemon that have this sort of if I get healed this turn, I do more shit. So that's why it's kind of nice. It's gonna be able to it will be able to be combined with a lot of Pokemon. Man, I'm trying to go really fast here. So we have Virizion GX, but before we talk about this card, I guess I might as well talk about the Prism Pokemon here, Celebi. I'm not really that impressed with this Pokemon. Obviously, attacks like Time Distortion, they always have, gimmicks and tactics that can be used. Basically, you can devolve your own bench Pokemon with this attack, and you put the evolution pieces in your hand. So normally it's more useful to devolve your opponent's Pokemon, but I'm pretty sure there is going to be ways, of course, you can exploit this attack and devolve your own Pokemon, evolve them again to get effects. Perhaps something like I don't know, like Greninja line, Greninja GX line. But to be honest, because it actually takes up your turn to attack, it makes it really slow. You're really gonna have you will need a very good combo to make this, really make great use of this. And the 90 HP is very bad for a Prism card. It should have been like at least 110 or 120. And Leech Seed just does 20. You heal 20 from this dude. Whatever, but it's a Prism Pokemon. Maybe you just want to get it for the collection. Looks nice at the very least. And then the last Pokemon from the grass dudes. I don't think a goat does anything. Let's check you out. Yeah, you actually don't do much. Leaf Wallop isn't that impressive. One of those 2-turn attacks to get the plus. Virizion GX is pretty good though. So a nice little tech support Pokemon as well. With double draw, you draw 2 cards, works with any energy, so very, very good. It's quite fair considering that it works with any energy. So even though there's other Pokemon like Lapras that let you draw 3, this Pokemon works with any energy. Sensitive Blade, if you played a supporter card from your hand during this turn, it's going to do 130 for 2, which is also quite solid, quite quick. And then Breeze Away GX, you put any number of your Pokemon in play and all cards attach them to your hand. So this is like a mass scoop up attack for your own guys. So obviously, you know, you won't be able to utilize this well if you have, if all of your guys are hurt, because you're gonna run out of Pokemon on the bench, and then your opponent might just knock you out that way. But if you have a couple of hurt dudes, a big bench with hurt dudes, even just Virizion GX, he can just put himself back in the hand. Then you can just spend the GX attack and reset all of your opponent's damage. Stall like that. It's solid, I guess, with 170 HP and only 1 retreat. Uh, you know, like the old EX guys, 170. Maybe it's not so great these days, but when they have good retreat costs, I sort of forgive them. The whole package is pretty decent. Once again, you get 3 great attacks. Very, very good. So another very good GX Pokemon. All of the GX Pokemon in this set are pretty good if you ask me, maybe except Mimikyu. But yeah, and then Tapu Bulu, I guess, is the last grass dude. This guy, it's got heavy punch. It's actually weaker than Entei GX's, or not Entei GX's, just the Entei from Ancient Origins attack. But I guess you will still do 100 damage if your opponent has a full bench. So not bad. I guess it's his first attack, either way. And you got Wild Tackle too. 120 for 3, and then if you get Tails, you do 30 to yourself. Decent grass basic Pokemon, I suppose, but it has a lot of competition. Furimosa is quite good. Even something like Heracross is quite good. There's a few better Pokemon I feel like. There's the Delmise that actually does more damage from Celestial Storm. So I don't know. I mean, you have a good, cheaper attack too with Heavy Punch maybe that can do good damage. But anyway, next up, let's look at, well, since I'm in the neighborhood, let's look at the fire Pokemon. So Moltres, it's decent. It doesn't have a fighting resistance, which really kind of pisses me off a bit. I wish it did. But 120 HP, 1 retreat, good. And you got Assistant Heater. It's basically your attack for cheap, do solid good damage with 1 energy, and then grab an energy too. But instead of the discard pile, you get this from the hand. It's a little bit sad, but there's still some advantages of, you know, getting the energy from the hand and attaching it to one of your bench Pokemon. So I guess it can be sort of faster. You don't need to set up the discard pile. And with Dragon Majesty, we have the little Dragon Claw thing that I don't remember the name, but that just adds fire energies to your hand. So decent fire support too. This card can definitely be used with decks. So just good to mention that. Then we got Typhlosion. This card, it's sort of tricky because it's not one of the best, but it can be sort of good. So Lost Flame basically does 120 for 4, and then you always discard 2 energies from your opponent's active Pokemon into the Lost Zone. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Now, the only way that you're going to make this work is if you combine this with something like Malamar. And the reason why I say this is because with Blazing Energy, this Pokemon's ability, It can make all energies basically fire, just the same as the original base set Charizard. You can try and use this with Blaziken if you want from Dragon Majesty and other Pokemon, but it's going to be too slow. So the only way, it's just something like this, I guess. Or maybe you still want to do Moltres. The good thing is that it doesn't discard energies from itself, so that's pretty good. Okay, spend enough time on you. Magcargo GX is the better fire Pokemon right here. So this Pokemon, I feel like it's quite good, but it really needs a good partner. So with Crushing Charge, once during your turn, you can discard the top card of your deck. If it's a basic energy card, you can attach it to one of your Pokemon. So this has the most obvious sort of synergy with the Magcargo from Celestial Storm, their DX reprint, where you're basically, it sort of gives you a free energy acceleration. Okay, so you can help yourself with this. Good old Arceus energy acceleration ability. Anyway, and Lava Flow is the great attack that you're going to be able to take advantage. You discard any amount of basic energy from this Pokemon. It's going to do 50 more damage for each energy you discarded. So it's not in the best sort of damage output when it comes to discarding energy attacks. For example, something like Rayquaza does more if you discard 3. Even something like Rayquaza EX, yeah, that guy does more. But it works, you only need fire energy, and if you discard 4, you're still doing 200. You're in that range to get one-hit knockouts. You put a choice band on this dude, you're still getting one-hit knockouts. So I feel it's a good Pokemon because it can help itself too. And Burning Magma GX is a good attack as well, good GX attack. Discard the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck. Quite good. This can be devastating for any opponent, even if they want to mill cards. You're always going to mill maybe a useful trainer, supporter, just something. Pokemon from a line their need to get out. So discarding cards from your opponent's deck is always powerful. You can deck them out, you can do all sorts of things. Sometimes you might help them out, but it's good. So there's nothing really bad to complain about this Pokemon, minus, let's say, I guess, the retreat. The problem is that the best Pokemon that it can use for help is Blaziken from Dragon Majesty with Fire Starter. But that guy is a stage 2. So you combine a stage 1 with a stage 2, you're not really going to go far. I mean, I guess maybe it's faster than using the Blaziken GX, but it's hard. It would have been better if, well, Blaziken was like a stage 1 2. That would have made things much better. But you can try, and if you don't want to use Blaziken, you can use yourself. You can use, I guess, Moltres and use the Magcargo. And I think this Pokemon is quite good. It can still get one-hit knockouts. It's just that it really needs a little bit more support maybe. But definitely a great GX Pokemon. Alright. And Entei, man, I feel like I'm going to be here all day. But this Pokemon is also kind of good. I need to talk about it. Farfang, just 20 for 2, always burn. I wish it did like 30 and the burn, but anyways. Eruption is the good attack here. Each player discards the top card of your deck, and for each energy, you do 60 more damage. So if you hit an energy, you do 140 for 3, which is very good. Once again, using Pokemon like Magcargo, you can easily meet that cost. And if your opponent hits an energy too, you do 200. And that's insane. That's quite strong. So very good fire tech too. Heatran, not so much. Victini, this guy's pretty good too. For each basic Pokemon, you do 20 times damage. So you have a full bench for basic Pokemon, does 120 for 2. So pretty good, another good fire attack. And next up we got Blazefullen GX. Blazefullen. I think that's how you pronounce it. This Pokemon does some interesting shit too. Bursting Burn, your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned and confused. So it doesn't do damage, but it's always going to burn and confuse the opponent, so not bad. And Mind Blown, you put any amount of fire energy attached to your Pokemon into the Lost Zone. It's going to do 50 damage for each energy card. So basically the same thing. So you might as well just combine this with combine this Pokemon with uh, no, because you put it in the Lost Zone. Uh, yeah, so you can't get it back with Blaziken, but it's still the fire. Except for the fire, discard and do a lot of damage. Get one hit knockouts attack. Anyway, and Burst GX, you discard one of your prize cards. If it's an energy card, attach it to one of your Pokemon. So this is one of the ways, I guess, they manipulate prizes. Again, the Ultra Beasts. It's like you get a prize card basically, but if it's an energy, you get a free attachment too. So not necessarily inferior to Cortana's GX attack, but not completely better either, because you don't get the card always. So this Pokemon, from what I understand, it's seen some kind of hype, but I don't think it's that good. Like it's decent. Maybe there's something I'm missing. I guess you can combine it with a few different Pokemon, but I don't know. There might be a deck with the Lost Zone stuff. It's gonna have a significant impact on the Lost Zone. We got to talk about this. Okay, so I think now it's a good time to talk about the Lost Zone. Yeah. So one of the other great things or bad things of this set is the Lost Zone mechanics. You're gonna be able to have we get basically three alternate win conditions in the form of the unknowns. So the first dude, damage unknown. If this Pokemon is active and if there's 66 or more damage counters on the entire field, you win the game. So you got this alternate win condition. Then you got this guy. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon in your active, if unknown is active and you have 12 or more supported cards in the Lost Zone, you win the game. And then we have this unknown. Oh no, not this guy. Damn it, they're confusing me. Right there, you. If you have 35 cards in your hand, you win the game again. So out of all of these, maybe the damage counter one is kind of realistic. Maybe that can happen somehow. The one that you need 35 cards in hand. I don't know how you can pull that off, but maybe there's a way. But the one that you just need 12 supporters is quite, I think it's going to be quite something. It's powerful. It's not so hard because there's a bunch of cards that really help this idea a lot. This Girafarig right here, you put 2 cards from your opponent's discard pile into the Lost Zone. So that's something, man. You can basically just choose supporters and you put them there. If they play like a Lost Zone supporter themselves, they sort of help you out like that. And you've got a few other cards like Slowking. We just passed that guy. Where the fuck are you? Yeah. Slowking, you always attack. When you attack, you look at your opponent's hand and you can put a card there in the Lost Zone. So you put a supporter with this too, and that helps too. And they have a trainer too that gives them the sort of turbo shit and put shit in the Lost Zone. Lost Blender. Put 2 cards from your hand into the Lost Zone, and if you do, draw a card. So you can put your own supporters there, and well, you draw a card too, so it has a drawing aspect to it. This deck really is gonna need a good list, and you're gonna have to know what you're doing, and maybe you're gonna need a lot of luck to hack your way to victory. But if it's anything like the Lost Scar, the Gengar Prime deck, and maybe with the cards we have now, like back then, you really didn't have all the draw options either. It might become something. Like if the lightning stuff doesn't become the best deck, this is definitely going to be the hacks deck. And then they might ban the cards because there's ways that maybe you can just win in just a couple of turns, basically, if you do shit right. So yeah. All right. And man, there's just so many cards to talk about. I've already talked about, you know, a lot of amazing cards, and we have the Water GXs too. We got Suicune GX, that's pretty good too. Once during your turn, you can put this guy back into your deck. So instant scoop up for himself, but it goes to the deck. And then you got Cure Stream, does 120 for 3, and then during your opponent's turn, it blocks 30 damage too. And then Brinkel's GX, if this is how you pronounce this attack, do 150, and then you switch this guy one of your bench Pokemon. So another good GX Pokemon. You can definitely do some shit. Put himself back in the deck and heal all the damage is definitely good. Man, it's just this set is filled. So I think we need to talk about a few more things that might end up good. There's the Lost March deck too, but I don't think it's going to be pretty good. Basically functions like Night March, but instead you gotta rely on things like Jumpluff, which is a stage 2 with only 70 HP. So that's not so amazing. But it is something, I guess. And then we have some of the psychic stuff. I gotta talk about the Giratina here. Where are you? Giratina. Right here. So this Pokemon, I've already sort of experienced it, what it can do. It helps out even things like Gardevoir EX. It's one of those Pokemon like Darkrai GX where if it's in the discard pile, you can basically revive it and put it onto your bench infinite times. So you got this looping effect, and every time you do this way, you put 1 damage card on 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So it's strong. You can combine this with a card here called Cofagrigus that can basically you discard your own Pokemon and do more damage. And there's all sorts of interactions you can do with this. Let's look at Cofagrigus. Yeah, discard any number of your bench Pokemon. Does 30 more damage for each bench Pokemon you discarded this way. So you basically discard, let's say, 3 guys, 3 Giratinas. You're at 100 this way. And, you know, with the damage of Giratina, a few add-ons too, you know, you already have a deck. Does good damage. Okay. So many Pokemon. Onix. This guy is also very good. This is going to make a great tech. So this Pokemon seems that doesn't do shit, but it's actually quite good. Whenever you see a Pokemon that has a type that's not colorless, but then they have an all colorless attack cost, it might be something, unless the attack is shit. With Land Crush, this Pokemon is going to do 120 for 4 energy. But you can combine this with Malamar, you can combine this with fucking Magnezone, any of the Magnezones, any Pokemon that you can put a lot of energies on easily, you can combine this with. And you got that coveted fighting type coverage. So another Pokemon that might be a good counter to Zeraora GX. So they made sure to sort of give us some options, I guess, to balance that deck out. So that's good. This card is definitely good. And Tyranitar GX. I guess I need to cover all of the GXs. This guy looks really cool, but I don't know how good it's gonna be. The art is the best thing about him, honestly. You got Lost Out. If your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage, put that Pokemon and all cards attached into the Lost Zone instead of the discard pile. So anything this guy kills, it goes in the Lost Zone. So this is powerful because it makes your opponent's stretchers and other recovery cards useless. You disrupt them a lot better with this. And of course, you can feed the Lost Zone, I guess, for the other interactions. And its attacks are quite good. The question is, how are you gonna power him up? We don't have Dark Patch and stuff, so it might be tough. But Dusty Ruckus, it's gonna do 130 damage and 30 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So this is quite good. It's really mass damage. It's at 160 just for hitting one bench Pokemon, and just hitting everybody, it's quite good. And Lay the Smackdown GX, I don't think that was the original name, but it's a good name either way. It does 220, and it won't be affected by any effects on the active Pokemon. So very good attacks. It's just an all-around good Pokemon, big HP, psychic resistance. Retreat, of course, won't be good on a Tyranitar card. The question is, are you going to find a way to power it up? I guess we do have Shuckle. That's one of the ways you can do it. but it won't be easy since you need grass and dark this way. You need a good list. You need a good list with these decks. With any deck, basically. Okay. Man, there's just so many things. There's like 13 GX Pokemon in this set. You got Genesect GX here. This Pokemon may have up to two cards attached, and this way basically you put two choice bands. Burst Shot, it does 190, so you can have a costless attack that can take care of GX basic Pokemon easily. And then Break Buster does 190 damage for 3, not affected by resistance. So it's a pretty straightforward Pokemon, just does good damage, Metal Energy dude. And you can have two tools. You can even put two frying pans and make this attack guy. So yeah, metal decks have another option. And Alolan Ninetales GX, we gotta talk about this Pokemon. This Pokemon is good for Mysterious Guidance, basically. It's your Tapu Lele for items. When you evolve into this card, you can grab up to 2 item cards and put them into your hand. This is quite good. Obviously, you can basically get anything, any item. That's always very useful. In Fairy decks, this Pokemon is even better, of course, because it's a solid attacker too. With 2 energy, you can do 100 total damage, 7 on the active, 30 snipe, and it has a sort of Ultra Beast hate attack. Its attacks like these are only good for as long as that sort of type of Pokemon it counters is relevant in the meta. For example, we had some Plasma counter Pokemon, but now that Plasma decks aren't doing shit, then those Pokemon, of course, aren't as good. But Sublimation GX is the same. It instantly knocks out an Ultra Beast. So for as long as Ultra Beasts are relevant, you have a decent GX attack too. So Alolan Ninetales GX, it can be combined with, let's see, Gardevoir GX. It would make a great partner, I feel like. Even better maybe than Sylveon. I guess that's to be debated. But it's quite good, and just any deck, if you want to run a good Stage 1 tech, this is very nice. Just getting 2 item cards. Excellent. Definitely going to be a great card. And man, this is going to take forever. I got Xerneas Prism, another excellent card. I really like this card. It does 160 straight with Bright Horns, and then once during your turn, when you make this Pokemon, when this Pokemon moves from the bench to become active, you can move any energy to it. Very nice, excellent stats, GX Pokemon, or just Prism Pokemon. You got Mimikyu GX. This guy's probably the weakest GX, but I guess we can talk about it. So it can instantly confuse the opponent for 1 energy. Decent, not so good. Let's Snuggle and Fall. Oh my god, this has such a adult connotation, but whatever. Does 30 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. So maybe you can combine this with Greninja and Shrines and I don't know, like other stuff. Not really Shrine because you hurt yourself. But it's not great damage output. And its Dream Fear GX attack, it's sort of inferior to Tapu Fine's. You can only target the bench with this attack. So not so amazing. You got Ditto Prism. This is an interesting Pokemon as well. Basically, this Pokemon can evolve into any Stage 1 card. So it's like you have an additional basic Pokemon with this card. So you want to have 4 Zeraoras for your Zoroark GX? Now you can with this dude. And there's just so many things, man. Lugia GX, this guy's not so good as well. Okay, so its stats are good, not 190, fighter resistance, the 2 or 3 causes standard. Psychic, it's basically a shittier Mewtwo attack if you ask me. It's going to do 30 damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon, which really sucks, meaning that it doesn't matter how many energies you have, you're not going to get the extra. So that's not good. Your opponent needs to have like 3, and then you do like 90, and that's not really good. It should have been like a Mewtwo type attack, X-Ball type attack, that maybe you combines both Lugia and the defending Pokemon's energy. It does cost 3 anyway, so okay. Now, Pelagic attack, Pelagic Blade, whatever how you pronounce that, is actually a good attack though. It basically does 170, and then you can't use this attack next turn. Now, this attack doesn't seem that good, but it definitely has a few benefits. Now, the downside is that it basically costs 1 more energy, and you do 10 more damage. You might say, I'd rather just do 160 for 3 and then I can attack, as opposed to doing 170 for 4 and then I can attack. But there's a few benefits. Number 1 is that Lugia GX can use this with any energy, so this is a flexible attack. Number 2 is that you can use DCs with this attack, so even just 1 DC just helps out the cost. It becomes like a 3 attachment that way, and you can just pop 2 DCs on and it's much faster, so that's quite good as well. And at 170, that 10 extra, it does matter, because when you attach a choice band, you're actually in that range to knock out a lot of stage 1 GX Pokemon now, as opposed to just basic GX Pokemon in one hit. So that's good. And then Lost Purge, you put your opponent's active Pokemon all cards in the Lost Zone. Okay, I guess. Lost Zone stuff. So this Pokemon, basically only the second attack and the GX attack, I feel like they can be sort of useful. Psychic isn't going to be very good. It's hard to use. Your opponent's going to need to have a billion's energies on. But anyways, the Pelagic Blade is quite good. I like it. DC compatible. It's a good Pokemon. Alright. And I think I'm just going to talk about the items, the trainer cards. They're very important, and we gotta wrap this. Otherwise, it's going to be a complete set review at this point. So Adventure Bag. This card is busted. You search your deck for 2/2 cards, put them into your hand. Even if you just grabbed one with this, it wouldn't have been great, but they decided, hey, let's just do a Professor's Letter for tools. I think that's not very fair, but it is what it is. They do what they want. And of course, grabbing 2 tools instantly with this not only is great consistency, but it's just great in general. Just an item that gets you tools. Grab 2. Very good. Next up, we got Aether Foundation Employ. You put 3 Pokemon that have Alolan in their names from their discard pile into your hand. So a mass hand recovery card for Alolan Pokemon. It might be good, I guess, but I'm not sure. Maybe in certain Alolan decks, it's a good one-off card. You got Choice Helmet. Nice sort of a style card with the art. This sort of a TCG cards that don't have anything to do with the game. It's like the Choice Band defensive thing. But it's not going to be that good. It blocks 30 damage from attacks from GX and EX Pokemon. Anybody can use this, but I mean, Meta Pokemon, like they can use Frying Pan, and you can see that they don't really go far. So even with this, I don't know, like with Choice Band, you always have the option to just pop the card on and get the plus at least once before the opponent field blowers. With this, you might not ever get the effect. They might just use field blower instantly. So these defensive cards have always been inferior in that regard. But it's a decent card, I guess. Next up, we got Counter Gain, these SP Vibes. So if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, the attacks of this Pokemon this card is attached to cost 1 less. So it's really insane, because with this, in the right circumstances, Zeraora GX can basically just do 200 damage for 1 energy, no cost. That's it. And any Pokemon can utilize this card. If you're losing, you pay 1 less. It becomes like an energy gain on everybody. So it's an excellent all-around general card. I feel like this is just, it might be more viable than counter energy in many ways. Next up, we got Custom Charger, Custom Catcher, actually. If you played 1, draw until you have 3, so it's like a weaker bicycle. If you played 2, You switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with an active Pokemon. So I would have thought they learned the lesson with the puzzles of time, but I guess they're still going to do these. You can play 2 cards at the same time cards, and it's good. I mean, if you play one, it's a good draw card. If you play two, it becomes like a Lysander. So who knows? Maybe people are going to start playing this as opposed to Guzma. I know Zoroark GX is gonna very much appreciate this card, so I don't know what they're thinking releasing this. It might end up being another card that gets banned, who knows. We already talked about Electivire, and then we got Faba. Choose a Pokemon tool of special energy or any stadium and put it in the Lost Zone. So this is much better than Xerosic because you can discard a stadium and a special energy and a tool. Only one, but you have good flexibility, I guess, since this guy's a supporter. And you put it in the Lost Zone too. So I guess it's a much more, you know, considerate supporter. So like you do spend your supporter, but you get a lot more flexibility than even Xerosic, which I thought it wasn't a great card. So it's okay, I guess. It's a good little tech supporter maybe. Next up we got the charms. So these fairy charms right here, basically the only thing they do is that you attach them to your fairy Pokemon, and depending on the style, like this one is the fairy charm grass, for example, you block damage from that type. So this one is going to block grass from GX and EX Pokemon, and this one psychic, fighting, and dragon. So it actually blocks a lot of the relevant meta stuff. So the fairy charm fighting is going to block out fighting GX Pokemon like a Buzz or Lycanroc, can't touch your fairies. Psychic is going to block out completely Malamar decks. Dragon decks the same, and grass. So, you know, fairy Pokemon have this sort of very powerful defensive tool right now. You shouldn't take it lightly. It's powerful. Now, once again, they can still field blower, but it definitely has a lot more value than something like the Choice Helmet. Okay, Heat Factory, Prism. We got 3 Prism Stadiums in this set. This one is the fire one. Once during either player's turn, that player can discard a fire energy and then draw 3 cards. So it's like a Scorch Earth. The only difference is you can only do this for fire energy, and then you draw 3 cards as opposed to 2. So very good for fire decks. It can help out Blaziken as opposed to. I really just wish Moltres could grab shit from the discard pile as opposed to the hand. Anyway, has the same built-in protection as the Thunder Factory, the Thunder Mountain Stadium. You can only remove this if you play another stadium. I got Life Forest. Once again, built-in protection. You gotta discard this with another stadium. You can't get rid of this with Field Blower. And this is another healing card. You can heal 60 damage and remove all special conditions from one of your grass Pokemon. Once again, a lot of Pokemon can appreciate this effect just to activate their attacking effects. And then we got Kahili. The supporter isn't very good, but I mean, if the coin flip didn't exist, it would have been busted. You draw 2 cards. If you get heads on the coin flip, this card goes into your hand. You don't discard it. So it can basically loop itself. A chance effect to loop yourself. Don't go minus, but the coin flip is rough, of course. The actual good draw supporter from this set is going to be Whitney. Now I'm going to make a video actually talking about maybe Judge and Copycat and maybe the impact of this card. But anyways, I digress. This card, it might end up being good or it might not end up doing much. You draw a card and then you draw 2 more cards for each Whitney in your discard pile. So there's a lot of ways to discard cards. Of course, we got Ultra Ball, we got what's it called? Mystery Treasure. We don't have Sycamore, but I guess if we did have Sycamore, you probably wouldn't be playing this. And if you got like at least 2, and then you play the 3rd one, you basically draw 5 cards straight up. So that's good. You go play the fourth one and you're drawing crazy good damage. It becomes like a straight uh, Juniper at that point, even stronger. You draw 8. The problem is if you play it on its own without any ones in the discard pile, you only draw 1 card. You draw 3, I guess, if you have 1 over there. So I think it's going to be pretty good. I'm going to definitely play it, but certain decks are going to appreciate it more. Like Malamar, I think it's going to appreciate it a lot more. It's going to help that deck become even faster, actually. You got Wait and See Hammer. You can only play this card if you go second, and only on your first turn. Discard energy on your opponent's Pokemon. I don't like this card. Why the fuck do they keep releasing these energy removal cards? Damn. Anyway, another Hex Go Lucky card. Spell Tag. This basically becomes like a balloon that you attach to Psychic Pokemon. Anytime it's damaged, you put 4 damage counters. Yep. So you can even attach this to Psychic Pokemon and do stuff. Memory Energy. This is basically the memory bearing the form of an energy. Any Pokemon that has this can use attacks from its pre-evolutions. So maybe finally Slacking, Vigoroth, they can use this card, I guess, but not really. I know a lot of other Pokemon have the Flail and Rage attacks, and they might appreciate this card. You can at least try those strategies. And got Sightseer. You may discard any number of cards of your hand and draw until you have 5. Lily is better. There's only a few situations where this can be pretty good, but you know, you might want to try it. The really good supporter in this set is Professor Elm and Whitney. We already talked about Whitney. This is going to be our Bridget coming back in a way. You can grab 3 Pokemon with 60 HP or less, put them into your hand. So it's like a collector and a Bridget in a way. I like the fact that you can't get any basic Pokemon. And you can actually get any Pokemon as long as they have 60 HP, so they can even be stage Pokemon. So that's interesting. But with this, it means that if you want to have that sort of Bridget supporting card, you're going to have to run the basic Pokemon that don't go over 70 HP. 60 HP actually. And a lot of them do go over that. So you kind of have to make a decision. You want to have a little bit better HP, or you want to be able to run this card instead of Apricot Maker, for example. So not bad. It's a great card. People are going to run this 100%. And man, I'm not even done at all. We got Morty. You can play this card with only if one of your Psychic Pokemon was knocked out. Your opponent reveals the hand. You choose 2 cards you find there. And it's a hand rape card. Basically, if one of your Psychic Pokemon got knocked out, you can choose 2 cards from your opponent's hand and shuffle them back into the deck. So this might be a pretty strong card too. But I feel like with the cost, it's quite fair. It's not going to end up like Getsis, but that's just me. Got Mixed Herb. May play 2 Mixed Herbs at once. If you play 1, it's a full heal. If you play 2, it's a Gold Potion and a full heal. So if you play 2, it's actually quite good. You got Mina. Just to search your deck for Fairy Energy attached to one of your Pokemon. Not the greatest. And then Lusamine. This card is super cool. Gotta love my Psycho bitches. And basically, you can only play this if your opponent has exactly 3 prize cards remaining. But you prevent all damage done to your Ultra Beasts during your opponent's next turn. Now, the great thing with this card is that Guzma actually can't get over this card because it protects all of your Ultra Beasts. So if you're playing an only Ultra Beast deck, then you can actually protect everybody effectively and get that free turn, buy that extra turn that you wanted with this. So it's a great Prism supporter for Ultra Beast decks for sure. It's going to basically be the difference between winning and losing the game, depending on the right time your opponent that plays this. Very powerful. And I think I covered everything. Like I said, I could be here all day talking about all the cards, but we talked about the most important stuff, I believe. It's going to be a big as fuck set. I guess the only thing that I didn't talk about is netball. And this, you just grab a grass energy or a grass basic Pokemon. I wish you could grab any grass Pokemon, but they changed it up. I think before it was any grass Pokemon in the Japanese. There was probably an error. Good card, but it's only gonna be like a better nest ball and grass decks, and that's it. Anyways, so this set is pretty fantastic. I guess in a summary, the best stuff is the lightning stuff, then the Lost World stuff, the alternate win condition stuff. Maybe if it becomes good, it's going to take everything over. And then the grass support here is very, very good. The fairy stuff, they can counter a lot of decks with those tools. And there's just a lot of Pokemon Man here. I could be here all day. This Electivire, I made the mistake in my review saying that there was one that can do 200. No, this actually does the highest damage. Same as Rayquaza, the Shiny Rayquaza's attack. Stage 1, dude. But anyways, uh, so many cards. There's a lot of cards here. I covered the best of them. There's still a lot of great cards, but we're going to be here all day. So, once again, lightning stuff is the best shit. Grass stuff is great. Fairy stuff is okay too. And the alternate win conditions, they're going to be something we have to kind of be afraid for a bit. And hopefully they don't become something, because they would be very busted if they did. And I think this video is a wrap. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys subscribe, leave a like, and share this with your friends. My channel is an excellent hub for all things Pokemon TCG. If you're not subscribed, I'd say it's a good time to do so. I have all sorts of videos. You can check my playlists. You're bound to find a genre of videos that you're going to find interesting. From the meta stuff to the recent stuff to old school stuff from past formats, I've got everything. So once again, zeraora24, what up?